Hello, friends. Hopefully, you can hear me. It is a cold one today. It was actually freezing today, even here in Brisbane. In case you're wondering, my girlfriend's done something ridiculous with my hair today. She put fucking little braids in it or something ridiculous from her. She told me I had to keep it. Said I wasn't allowed to take it out. So, that's what you're copying. Ridiculous. They did turn up right on schedule, really. Now, if you want to watch an actual good painter, Zumakito is actually streaming right now, and he's doing a Mini Masters challenge. So you should all go and watch him, not me. I'm going to be far more boring than he is. As the winter winds settle on the lonely hearts, all the warmth in your eyes let me into your arms. The love, the fear of the cold that bled us through the night. For every kiss, your beauty trim my doubt. So Queensland Model Hobby Expo is Saturday, Sunday this week. And I find myself a long way away from having a diorama that is even passable. So I'm pushing as best I can over the next 5 days. I'll probably do a fair bit of streaming. But hopefully just a fair bit of painting as well. I do actually have something cool happening on Wednesday, on the public holiday. I'm doing an interview with Dave Taylor from Dave Taylor Miniatures, who I've actually known for many years. On his channel or something. I don't actually know where his channel is, so I'm sure someone will find it. But yeah, this has been a nice little project to work on whilst Mini Masters has been happening. Just been something to take my mind off of things. It's been an enjoyable experience watching the show. Nothing negative or anything like that. But yeah, just I have this expression that I used to call PTD. It was post-tournament depression, and I would always feel like you spend so much time building yourself up for a tournament. You know, you're practicing, you're probably painting an army, you're getting yourself all worked up, and then And then the day comes around where all of this practice culminates in an experience that goes for a single weekend and 6 games or 4 games, and it always feels over so quickly, and it's usually time when you see your mates for the first time in ages, and so you have this experience where you spend so much energy and effort building yourself up to it, and then bang, it's over. And then you also compound that with generally, people would get sick after a CanCon or whatever. So we would have this post-tournament depression where you'd sometimes be sick, but you'd always just be so sad that it happened so quickly and that all that effort was poured into this experience and then it was over. Well, I've kind of been having delayed onset post-tournament depression with Mini Masters. It's been watching it and just reliving that experience. I look back and I think, geez, I wish there was so many more things I did to capture the memories. I didn't take enough photos. I didn't take enough videos. I probably didn't tell people enough how much I appreciated the experience and the opportunity and the friendships, but we can only do our best, right? So where is me fucking tweezers at? Where's my tweezers at, bro? There you are. They are. You're right, they are. And I definitely have wonderful memories, and I definitely did live in the moment and experience the what was happening in a really nice way. So I don't have any regrets on that front, but I guess I just wish that I did more. I just wish I spent more time appreciating where I was and what I was doing. One of the the best quotes from one of my favourite shows of all time is The Office. It's in the finale. It's by Ed Helms, Andy Bernard, and he says, "I wish there was a way to know that you're in the good old days before you leave them." It's just such a good quote. But obviously, you know that going to another country to participate in a first off world first miniature painting competition run by people you've looked up to for a long time is always going to be one of those things you go, yep, no, this is a special experience. So I definitely felt that and appreciated that the time that I was there. And I think I said maybe in a stream the other day that I was just really feeling blessed that I would get to experience something at my age. I know I'm not old. I'm certainly not a spring chicken anymore, but I've still got lots of cool figure paints in me and lots of cool stuff that I can do, but it's not one of those things where I think, yeah, I can do whatever I want whenever now. It's like, probably only got a few more cool experiences like this in me before, not before I die, but just before life catches up to you and you can't put aside 3 weeks to fly to another country to paint toy soldiers. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I have. many opportunities to do stuff like that again. But it was just something that I'm not sure if I've talked about this on stream before, but so I travel a lot for work. I get on a plane quite frequently for work, once every 4 to 6 weeks, sometimes more. And just before COVID, I actually had some real weird reservations about getting on a plane. I was actually super anxious about it, and this was happening just before I went on a big international trip, my last international trip to SMC in Monty actually. And I remember talking to my mate Whaley about it, and I was just like, man, I'm so nervous about flying at the moment. I don't know why. And he flies all the time, and he's doing international trips every year, and he's just like, yeah, man, it's just, it'll happen sometimes. I don't know if it was a midlife crisis thing where I just was starting to feel my mortality or whatever. But I was petrified to get on a plane, and I had this experience where I went on a work trip down to Adelaide, and it was some of the worst turbulence that I've experienced on a plane ever. So bad. And this happened right at the tail end of me feeling awful about flying. And I got off that flight, and I said to my girlfriend, I don't think I can fly on a plane again. This was after we got back from the trip. And about 2 weeks later, COVID hit, and I had somewhere in the vicinity of 2 years where I didn't have to fly for anything, or couldn't fly for anything. And then as things started to come back online, I had to fly, and it wasn't as bad as it was before. I started feeling a little bit more okay about it. And then we come to now where I'm just absolutely fine with flying, and I don't even bat an eyelid anymore. But the experience of Miniature Masters was like my first international flight since that experience, and I started feeling some of those nerves come back and thinking, oh, how am I going to cope with the flying and all that stuff? And yeah, it was great. It was a really great trip, and everything worked out perfectly. So I was very lucky. Well, not lucky. I was just when you think about it, that is not lucky. That is just normal and intended experience when traveling on an airplane. It is very unusual for that not to be the experience. I did have one nervous moment on the flying though, which wasn't actually anything to do with the flying. It was all to do with the legs that I was travelling. So, hey, Paintera. The at the time when I found out that I'd been invited to the show, about a week after that, everything happened in the Strait of Hormuz and all that stuff, and all of the airports got shut down through the normal travel thing. So we'd normally from Australia fly by Abu Dhabi or Dubai, and so they were all offline, and so flights just all of a sudden basically tripled in price. And I found some flights, and the production team and that was like, yep, no, that's good, because I told them I'd book my own flights just because it was going to be tricky, and their travel agent couldn't find anything for a reasonable price. So I said, I think I can find something. So I've got these flights booked, and I sent them to the guys and said, yeah, these flights good, and they're like, yep, no, they all look great. Anyway, they messaged me after I booked them and say, oh, actually, that flight that you're flying home on is the wrong day. You need to fly back a day later. And I was like, okay, well, I've booked the flights. Can we just, like, I'll fly back a bit earlier. And they're like, no, you need to be there for that last day. And you can't fly out till this time. So I had to go and talk to my travel agent and explain. And I was very fortunate that she was able to get me flights on the next day, and it wasn't too much of an additional cost. So that was fine. But what happened with the flights, I've done a lot of international travel, and so, you know, it's always good to leave gaps in between your legs, your flights and stuff. So I'm used to leaving 3 hours in between flights, legs, and there was a 50-minute transfer at Copenhagen was the flights that I got moved into. So I had 50 minutes to get off a little flight from Stockholm, a little domestic flight, and get to the international part of Copenhagen Airport. I had 50 minutes. And then I'm not talking 50 minutes before boarding, I'm talking 50 minutes before the plane left. So really, I had 20 minutes. 20 minutes to get off my flight, get through customs because it's a different country, so you had to go through customs, and get my connecting flight back to Singapore. And that is a feel like, I think you can handle having a bit of a muck around on your way over. It's like, yeah, it's a bit annoying. Something goes wrong, but on the way home, you just like want to get home so bad. And you're like, I just don't want this to fucking be delayed or missed. And I was at Stockholm Airport that morning, just absolutely peaking, expecting my flight to be delayed or something. And I was like, I'm going to miss this flight, I'm going to miss this flight. It actually worked out perfectly. And my travel agent explained to me at the time that, yeah, that Copenhagen actually has approved this. They have to approve this situation for you to be able to book this flight. They say it's okay. And I understand why, having done it, because where I got off the plane, I had to walk 200 meters to get to customs. So it ended up being quite straightforward. And I went to the chick at customs and said, one of the people at the front said, my flight's supposed to be boarding in like 5 minutes. And she said, yeah, that's okay. Just go through the process and we'll come and grab you if it starts boarding. So I just stood in line, and then 10 minutes later she comes over and says, hey, we're just going to take you over now. Got over, walked onto the plane. Job done. The second part of that was I booked myself an exit row for the way home because of how challenging the way over had been. So I thought, yeah, I'm going to book myself an exit row, and that way I'll have a really nice, relaxing flight home. And it wasn't a huge amount of money. Singapore Airlines is really good with that. But I just didn't want my money to go to waste. And it didn't. So yeah, there you go. That was the only part of the trip where I was not enjoying it. Thank you, mate. Yeah, it's coming along nicely. I think the overall vibe is looking good. Still a fair way away from being finished, and if I do take it this weekend to the Queensland Model Hobby Expo, it will be not completed, but it will look okay. It'll be passable. Yeah, very much so. Very much so. It's like $170. It's not a huge amount of money. And I picked my seat. I was in an exit row. I had fucking huge leg room. It was the best. If you haven't met me in real life, or you see me on the show, even the show probably doesn't really highlight the fact that I'm significantly taller than most. And the flight over, I didn't know. I hadn't flown in an international flight for a long time without being in an exit row. I said to myself, yeah, I'll try it out. I haven't done it in a while. Maybe it's not as bad as I remember. It was as bad as I remembered. And the 14-hour flight from Singapore to Paris was one of the longest experiences of my life. I'd prepared myself for it. I knew it was going to happen. And I said, yep, I can handle it. But it was a real test of willpower. Yeah, 6'7" I am. Anyway, what a cool experience, eh? Alright, this is a cool green. I just bought this the other day, so I might try and do this. Hey, Sebastian. Maybe we'll just see how this squeezes on here. Yeah, that's just a bit much, probably. That's just a bit too much. Yo ho, Sebastian, let's go far away, somewhere where the captain won't be mad. Oh, that's a great question, mate. Sure. So I think entering a competition is always valuable. It's always really valuable experience for you as an artist, but I think you need to have a very clear goal or understanding of what you're looking to achieve out of the competition before you go in. And we had a really interesting experience at Guilds Inn, which I spoke about briefly on a stream a few weeks ago. But someone went to the event and was really disappointed with their result. And I think it's really a matter of perspective. I just don't think that you can go into an event like a Crimson or a Guilds and be angry at yourself for not doing well. I think the most important thing that you're getting out of going to one of those events is just an experience of doing something that you've never done before. And so rather than focusing on, I'm going to get X, Y, Z result, I think your best bet is just to focus on putting something into the competition that you feel is your piece that you're proud of. Crimson Brush is always in Canberra? Yes, absolutely. The Crimson Brush is inextricably linked to CanCon and will remain that way. There are other events in other states, such as Guilds Inn, which is a great event, especially because they asked me to judge. But yeah, in terms of what should you be looking for, do your research before you go in. So the rules packs generally release October, roughly. So you have a good solid 3 months, 3.5 months to put something together. So read through the rules pack carefully, understand what it is you're targeting, and go in with a plan for what you're targeting. So I would recommend, if it's your first event, that you enter in the standard painting comp, standard side, and maybe focus on one or two of the categories that you can enter in. When I went overseas for my first international event, of course, did not follow my own advice, and I entered in Masters and got absolutely shellacked, but it was a good experience. There is actually one in Brisbane, and it's on this weekend, mate. It's called Queensland Model Hobby Expo, out at Ipswich. They do figure painting there. It's probably not as geared towards figure painting as Crimson or Guilds Inn is. There was one a couple of years ago called, was it Runax? Fuck, I can't remember now. It was Runax, maybe, at Loganholme at Fitzy's. And I judged that one. That was quite cool. And then there's another one that they usually run in July called GHMX, which last time was out at Strathpine on the north side, but I don't actually know exactly where. I didn't get to go to that one. So they're both fun little events. Those two, GMHX and the Runax one. But I do think Crimson's a great place to go for your first ever event. It's very targeted at the experience. You know, it's not about the painting event so much as it is we're a part of a bigger show, you know, CanCon, so you can come drop your models off, wander around the show, you can set yourself up in the painting lounge and, you know, talk to other painters and do some painting, and then we try and make a fun thing of it with the stream and everything. Not sure how it's going to look this year because I'm not as involved this year, but we shall see. With when we die, ooh, I keep this love in the photograph. You never been to CanCon? Hey, chum dubs. CanCon's a wonderful experience. It's huge. Spread out across like 4 giant convention centers. They have so much cool stuff. It's an amazing experience. I love CanCon. Highlight of the year. So I usually drive down actually with my mates. For the previous years I've driven down because I was taking stuff for Crimson. But this year we're driving down because I want to, because we have such a cool time. So we drive down, it's a 14-hour drive. And we just, you know, play tunes and play games and have a cool time in the car, and then we get there, and in previous years I've done setup on the Friday, setup for the event, and then just spent, because me and 8 other of my mates all stay in an Airbnb together, and we just play games. They're lucky fuckers, they play games all weekend. I can only play outside of the tournament, outside of the event. Is it your homage to Dunk the Tall, mate? Is it your homage to me? I accept either as a correct answer. But sleep well. Great man. The event I'm trying to finish this one for is Queensland Model Hobby Expo. It's on Saturday, and I've got to drop this off on Friday night. I might ask them on Friday night if I can drop this off Saturday morning, so I get a bit more time. Queensland Model Hobby Expo from 2025, me. Ah, CanCon. That's cool. I'm gonna go and have a look. I didn't know that. But yeah, it makes sense. We're actually a pretty big part of the event. Chum Dab's Queensland Model Hobby Expo is out at Ipswich, mate. Oh, the Crimson Brush site. Yes, well, I'm the organizer of that event, so yes, it does make sense that I would be on there. Been involved in the Australian display painting scene for a long time, but yeah, probably newer people wouldn't realise how much of a role I played in getting us to where we are today. The all the artists we had coming over to teach classes before COVID and just after COVID were all organised by me. I took all the payments, I organised all the venues, I got accommodation for all the artists and helped them make it a possibility. I ran the Crystal Dragon for 4 years, which was the predecessor to the Crimson Brush. And then after COVID, we rebranded to Crimson Brush. I took, when I travelled for painting events, I spent a lot of time trying to convince artists to come over and judge. So we've had, Kaha, we've had Craft World Studio, just this year we had Albert Moretto Font, who would probably be up there as one of the best miniature painters in the world right now. And it's been nice over the last 2 or so years that I've been able to hand over a lot of that stuff to other people. Jared's taken on a huge part of that role, which has been really nice because it's a thankless job. And there are times when you feel undervalued and unappreciated. Come out to QMHE Chum Dabs. It's going to be a good weekend. Thanks Reaper. Appreciate that. Thank you, mate. Yeah, I don't do a great job of promoting myself on Twitch or trying to chase subscriptions or anything like that. I used to have it set up so it'd be notifications and all that stuff and pizzazz, and what I realised was I was just spending more time fucking about with that stuff than actually painting. So I decided to just let that all take a back seat and just paint. On my socials, do you mean Jum Dabs or? Yeah, I mean, I think probably a few more have come through, but again, I haven't really tried to capitalise on it and I think some of the other contestants have done a much better job, and kudos to them. But it's really important to me that this just remains my hobby. I love painting. I just love coming and sitting down and making cool toys, and I don't feel any stress, and I never feel any stress about doing this, and I just enjoy the whole thing. And that was the same for Mini Masters. I just really enjoyed the whole time. Never felt stressed. Just had a really good. Actually, there was one time I felt stressed. I'll come back to that. I just had a really good time painting my toys, and so I try very hard for all of my stuff that I create from a content perspective just be the same. It's me doing my thing. If people want to watch that, that's cool. If people don't want to watch that, that's cool. And hopefully you'll just have a nice time. Mini Masters was a very cool experience, and I had an absolutely wonderful time. The only time I felt stressed during the whole experience, there was 2 times. The first was day 1, standing in front of the judges, waiting for their deliberation on whether I was going to be safe or not. I didn't really mind when I went home. Like I didn't expect to do all that well when I saw the quality of people that were there. But I'd set myself a goal in my mind that I just wanted to get through the first episode and not get knocked out. And then I was standing there in front of the judges, and it all just hit me. It's like, oh my God, I could go home right now and that would feel so bad to have travelled such a long way and go home in the first episode. I could feel every muscle in my body like contracting. So that was the first time that I was nervous, and the second time I was nervous was when Aaron and I did the team challenge, because it wasn't just me that I was painting for then. It wasn't just me. I was doing it for Aaron, and my work had a direct influence on his ability to proceed, and that would have been something that I would have felt responsible for, and so I really didn't want to let him down, and so I really tried to do my best in that episode, just for him, because he deserves it. I would have done the same for anyone, but yeah, he was my partner, and he picked me. We did win that one, yeah, and that was nice. But that was the hardest day, I think, that I experienced, because I just didn't want to let him down. Yeah, the rest of the time was groovy like a drive-in movie. Thank you, Vols. I do a good job with that event. and I have done a good job for a long time. And I'm taking a break this year from organising. Bunny and Ben are taking over the show, and I just said to them, I just need a break. So it's going to be good. They've asked me if I want to judge, which I said I would consider, and more than likely I will do so. But yeah, it'll be just a weekend where I get to have a relax and an enjoy, and I'm looking forward to it. They are cool people. Yeah, they're really, really cool people. I do have a nickname in the chat, Trent the Gent. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that. I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, you're such a nice dude, Deno," and I think, well, maybe none of these people have actually met me. None of these people have seen what a pest I was the majority of the time that I was there, just running around and being a pest. But I do, I do definitely have a soft side where I try to do the right thing by people, and Chump Dabs does know me, exactly. Chump Dabs knows what's up. But look, I do think that there's always, everyone has different personas that they take on in different environments, right? We all do it, everyone acts differently at work to what they do around their friends, and all that stuff is normal, and there's nothing wrong with that. And my miniature painting persona, if you will, the one that I have on most of the time when I'm involved in the mini painting thing, is actually just, I've always tried to be helpful and supportive of people and help them on their journey, and so that was the sort of vibe that I took in to the experience. But the wargamer side of me is a lot more of a ruthless motherfucker, and the people who know me in real life know that I am actually a really big pest. Constantly needling people and just doing funny stuff. Yeah, let me turn on my palette for you, my friend. Oh, that's very bright, Deno. So this is a combination at the moment of 3 colours. So this colour is Van Koki knows it very well. Very well. Hey, we're on for Wednesday night, mate, if you're keen. I'm keen. So this is the first colour, Gory Red, which is a Vallejo. And I've followed that up with this little bit of the red, which is a Chimera colour, which is the best red on the market. And then I'm mixing in a little bit of my secret sauce for highlighting red, and that colour is called Pistachio, and it is a green. Actually, it looks like this. And the chick that's writing on it, I'm going to start right now. I was thinking maybe we could play some Tapestry, Coke. We haven't played Tapestry in a while. Or whatever you're feeling. Alexa, airbrush on. Alexa, thank you. About time you listen to me. That's alright, thank you, Alexa. Or whatever. Do you have another in mind? A good one? 2-player one? Could always crack out Rebellion. We haven't played Rebellion in a while. Oh, could it be a Rebellion night? You decide, mate. What the fuck is there? Well, I wouldn't recommend it often. Part of the reason why I do it with that one is because pistachio is a very yellow green. Very, very, very yellow. So it's probably sits more as a yellow than a green. But hey, thanks, Chum Dabs. The complementary colour of red is green, and so when you mix in that, you tend to get a little bit more desaturation, and so what you get is a contrast between the vibrant red and the slightly more desaturated green. Alexa, airbrush off. So it's just a different approach, which I like, but there's other ways to do it. You can do whatever you want. This is your world, you're the creator. Find freedom on this canvas. Believe that you can do it, 'cause you can do it. We don't make mistakes. We just have happy accidents. There are no limits here. Start out by believing here. This is your world. You're the creator. Yeah, look, that's definitely a good approach. I actually just prefer the ease and convenience of the pre-mixed colours. I can mix colours, but the type of painting that I do, it doesn't really suit mixing colours that much, because I'm generally trying to do quite a lot of figures to the same standard and using the same colours. So it's it doesn't really suit that, mixing the colours every time, but I have done pieces where I've just used all single pigments and stuff. But yeah, I just have a lot of colours that I really like and just use them. I've said this in a lot of the classes that I teach, right? We have a real problem in the hobby in general of people sharing these false perspectives that there's a right way to do things. There is absolutely no right and wrong way to create art. There's things that will achieve a desired result, but you do need to be open to different techniques, different colours, different paints, different approaches to really... Because I use contrast paints all the time. If you told that to professional miniature painters that used contrast paints, they'd be like, ooh. I didn't match Fixer. And I love Shadowborn games, and I love Oathsworn, and I didn't back Avalon the Riven Vale. Jared, Mossy put braids in it. She's turned me into fucking Anakin Skywalker, mate. What an absolute pest. And she said I had to wear it for the stream. I said, alright, mate. Whatever you reckon. Yeah, Diorama's coming along, mate. I'm trying to get it ready for the weekend. I'm feeling like I probably will have a version that will pass muster, certainly for QMHE, so I can put it out there into the world and sign some autographs. But no, it's still probably another 2 to 3 weeks away from being finished. But I made some good headway with this guy today. This guy's he's looking a lot cooler than he was. So yeah, and then I just done the throne. So this was the one that was holding me back psychologically, I think. I was like, this one's going to take forever. So I just figured if I can smash this guy out, then everything else will feel a lot more manageable. So that's what I've done. Focus my time on this guy. Were you happy with Guilds Inn, Jared? Was it a satisfactory outcome for you and the team? That's good. I had a nice time. Did you end up making contact with that artist that we had leave the show early, or no contact? Yeah, I spoke about it on stream. Respectfully. Don't worry. Just about the expectations of going into an event, and if you're focused on results, you probably got your focus in the wrong area. Especially for your first event. Have you been watching Mini Masters, Jared? Have you been watching the show, or have you been too cool for you? Is it just too cool, man? Oh, that's nice, mate. How do you feel about the lack of safety masks and the compressors being used in the studio? Swedish OH&S laws must be a lot looser than ours, eh? Oh, the ergonomics were a disaster. Absolute disaster. That was the only feedback I gave them in my feedback that was an absolute bake. I just said, guys, the chairs were a disgrace and you should be ashamed of yourselves. They're like, yeah, man. Honestly, I have no idea how I did it as well. As you've now seen, I participated in this event for. This is 6 episodes now that we're coming up on. So guaranteed 6 episodes that I participated in, and potentially a 7th. And they announced it in a Squiddly Bits video that's coming out that there is extra time in this next episode. And so much so that there's actually double the amount of time, so 2 days for this next challenge. It is just cooked to be sitting on a stool for that long. The Saturday, which was the day after, so I think we'd done 4 days of painting and filming. Saturday was our first day off, and everyone had these grand plans to do stuff. I just laid down on the bed all day, just stretching my back. It was tragic, absolutely tragic. I did a fair few back exercises pretty much every day. I had to. Some yoga. That's like one of the things that people watching the show just do not consider. We filmed 12, 13-hour days, 14 days, 14 days of doing that, and then it was on uncomfortable chairs, it was in an unfamiliar environment. The temperature in the studio was always either way too hot or way too cold. So you had this weird stuff happening with your paint on the palettes. We're using paints that were unfamiliar. At any given moment, you've got like 4 people filming you. You got Lucas running around being a little fucking goblin, trying to piss people off, and succeeding in everyone but me. It was just as much about who could endure the environment as much as it was who was the best painter. And I think that's where the professional miniature painters, the people who do it as a job, started to pull ahead of the pack. And I was just lucky enough that I skated through by virtue of the fact that I could do something in half the time as everyone else. Lucas was fun. No, I'm teasing him, but he was great. He didn't cause any problems at all. He basically came in to us one day and said, "I'm going to come in and cause some problems. Get ready." And we're like, "All right." But he was nice. It was such a cool experience, man. Too much water. Why so much water? Yeah, I've been thinking about that question a lot recently. I'm going to do a review video, like a video after the show's finished filming, just to talk about my experience and hopefully give some cool insights and stuff that I haven't been able to talk about. I can finally talk about everything. And one of the things that I'll sort of want to talk about on that is if they're going to do a season 2. And first of all, so that if people want to apply, or they're successful and they want to understand what it's like, I can answer those questions. But I put myself in their shoes and I look at some of the feedback hasn't been great. Cool, you learn from that and you can improve. That's no problems. But the numbers are where it really starts to fall down in terms of why I think they would choose to not do a season 2 is, their normal videos on the channel get 150 to 200,000 views, and they don't have to spend any money on them. They just do their normal stuff. Mini Masters is, aside from the first episode, not really pulling in more views than that, and they spent a lot more money on it. So the numbers just don't really stack up in terms of how I would view it and approach it. But yeah, who knows? Maybe their sponsors are covering more. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense from an ROI perspective. Exactly, it's just not worth it. So, Alexa, airbrush on. So yeah, I whether or not that's the only metric that they're going on, I'm not sure. You know, there's been a lot of great press about the show, so it's not just the negative press that's sort of impacting the decision making, but certainly. Certainly, I think they would have been hoping for more views than they're getting, and that's just speculation on my behalf. That's not based on any insider information or anything. You should watch Andor. I'd love for more people to get to experience what I experienced. You know, so I hope they do seriously look at doing another season. But yeah, we'll see. I had a great time at Guilds, mate. I was actually saying on my stream a couple of days ago that one of the parts of it that I really enjoyed was actually the judges' table. I felt like I really made a positive impact on people at that point. Just being able to frame questions in different ways. You know, I used some of my work fucking bullshit just to ask questions of people about how they wanted to receive feedback and what they wanted to learn, and I think that was really really cool. The experience was great for me. I'd never judged with Kyle before, and that was really nice, really fun experience. Sebastian and I have obviously done it a lot together, so that was nice. The quality of entries was phenomenal. I think the two best pieces were comparable with the best in the world, certainly from what I've observed. So yeah, it makes me really happy to see where the scene has gone in the last few years, and nice to have contributed to that, and nice to be taking a break from that as well. But yeah, I had a great weekend, and the pizzas are really good, man. Like, they're really good pizzas. I said to Mossy how much I was looking forward to the pizzas, and I reckon I had about a pizza and a half, if not two. You did order too many. Well, it's not my fault that you hadn't too many, mate. I did an absolutely admirable job. Yeah, you're one of the few people who understands what it's like at Crimson, my friend. you just have 2 days of just nothing. It's just wild. If you are thinking of getting an airbrush, I can speak quite highly about these Squidmar brushes. I used throughout the show exclusively the other one, whatever the other one's called, the Ultra. I didn't crack this one out at all during the show, and I said to the boys, "Oh, can I keep my one that I didn't use?" So I intentionally didn't use it, and then they gave me someone else's one who'd used this one the whole time and left it in a rank fucking state. So, fuck you guys. But this brush is very, very good. It's very high detail, and the other one, the Ultra, was perfect for me. Here's a little thing about airbrushes. Alexa, airbrush off. You do not need the precision detail brush to be able to do precision detail work. You need the control and the experience with the actual airbrush. And that is what I was able to do everything with the Ultra because it's a very good brush. So I didn't need to switch to the high detail one at any point because I could use the non-high detail one and still achieve everything I wanted to. But I picked up a few new things that I didn't know before from Miniature Masters, and one of them is one that I will highly recommend to everyone, and it is Parasite Brown. Parasite Brown is a fucking banger. This colour is legit. Get yourself one of those. Life-changing colour. Yeah, they're all still at Squidmar. We might get them. They sort of said to us that they'd like to send them to us after filming and everything, but they're still like putting together the shots for the last couple of episodes. They're actually still filming the glamour shots and trying to get it right. So they said we might get them back. They might send them to us. I've given two of mine away. I fucking told Amalia she could have my Ghoul guy. And I told one of the camera guys he could have the dragon. I just gave him away like a pest. So I hope we don't get them so I can say to him, yeah, sorry, couldn't give those away. Sorry, champion. Turak, it was actually one of the more challenging parts of the whole thing was just the materials, because I'm so used to just picking and choosing my favourite colours and whatever I'm used to, that having to effectively learn a whole new brand of paints, a whole new consistency, and then what other options they had. As I said, I use a lot of contrast paints, so I had to try and find an express colour version of that, or an ink. So this magenta ink's actually become one of my favourites from my time on the show. So yeah, that was actually a really a part of the show that probably again goes by the wayside, learning how to use all the new materials airbrushes, brushes. I mean, even the brushes we were using Squidmar brushes, pretty good. Not exactly the type of brush I would use normally. Like he says he's using one right now, of course. um, they don't have quite the right amount of snap for me. I like brushes with a lot more snap. Just the bristles are a bit firmer. They spring back a little bit more. These ones don't quite spring back as quickly. So, yeah, having to learn all that stuff is actually one of the reasons why I went, yeah, see you, buddy, thanks, Jared. Is actually why I played it safe in the first few episodes. I didn't really want to have to do something crazy whilst also learning the materials and equipment, which I think was a good strategy. So my preferred brushes are Winsor & Newton Series 7. This is a Winsor & Newton Series 7 that has seen some usage. I have a brand new one here ready to crack when I feel the need. That is a size 0, I think, yeah. I don't have a size 1 left over, I don't think. Oh, do I? Is that a size 1? No, that's a Raphael 2.0. That's fine. I've got a lot of brushes there. I've got Winsor & Newton Series 7 would be my preference. The Artist Opus brushes are actually very good also. I've used them. I'm not sponsored by them, but they gave me some freebies. The Squidmar brushes would probably come in third for me in terms of how I enjoy them, and then the Raphaels are not too bad. You really can't go wrong with any of the name brand brushes, but I do think it's worth trying a few different brushes and sort of finding one that fits how you like to paint. You know, some people swear on certain types of brushes because of how it feels for them and how they like to paint. So many little snakes. There we go. I certainly haven't done any monster streaming marathons since coming back. I'm happy to just paint for a few hours and then pack up my toys and go do something else. What is supposed to go there? Should I be gluing her down now? Not yet. Not yet. So everyone, Zumakito is actually doing a mini masters challenge right now on his channel. So you should go and watch that. It'll be far more interesting than me just sitting here painting. Because he's actually an awesome painter. Yeah, sneaky trick number one to rack for dioramas. Because they are generally fixed viewing angles, you can get away with a lot less work on the back of your models generally. So depending on where they are in the piece, I will probably not do very much work on this at all. But I will, and not to mention that this actually sits up against the throne, so even less necessity to do it, but I just want to have some base coats in there so we can at least if it turns around you can see some effort. Yeah, that's true. That's true. He does have a long way to go. I always feel bad when I'm streaming. I do a bad job of it. I'm not very interesting. I just like painting my toys, and every now and then I just get so wrapped up in it that I forget I'm supposed to be talking to people and engaging. My mum and dad just got back from a holiday today. They've been away and they were overseas, and they watched the show live, and they were just blown away by how many people were watching, commenting and getting involved in the show. They just thought it was the bee's knees. Little tranny boy was on this show, so it was great. They've shared it with all their friends, and their friends are all watching the show and having a great time. Yeah, I know some of my other friends have been inspired to pick up the brush and do some painting, so that's nice. Alright, let's do it. Let's Parasite Brown this bad boy. Oh yeah. So I don't know why this colour has touched me so inappropriately, but it has really lit a fire. It's just got a really nice finish that comes through as a gold really nicely. This really orangey, sort of warm colour. Just hits a nice spot for me. Just such a good colour. Fuck, man. I'll thank Andy Wardle for this colour, introducing me to this colour. One of the things I did actually do when I was over there, so we'd get back to the hotel at 9 o'clock most nights that we were filming, and some people would head down to the bar or downstairs and hang out for a bit, but most of the time we were all just zonked and we wanted to head to bed. And so I remember I would go to bed and have a shower and get all tucked in, and then I'd load up some painting videos. So I'd watch painting videos. I was binging some Cult of Paint, some Andy Wardle pieces. He did some cool videos that I watched, which I'll talk about later, and watched some Sergio, who's one of my favourite artists. I watched pretty much all of his videos again, and just watch colours and placements, and just tried to think about my own approach, and so it was actually nice. I don't think I've been as that transfixed with painting in a long time. That was the most energised towards painting I've felt for a hugely long time. Yeah. Yeah, it hits special for me when I'm feeling the enthusiasm and I can just hyperfixate on something. Do enjoy that. Enjoy the heck out of it. Case in point, go and watch my Kingdom Death streams. I basically live, breathe, sleep, eat Kingdom Death for about a month at a time. I had all my stuff out last night actually. I was thinking I might start another campaign. I haven't written it off yet. It's my very favourite game, and it's a all-encompassing experience. But it always feels fresh and new, and anytime I get new content, I'm always like, ooh, how's that going to feel to play this game? And Gen Con always revitalising, but I do have to paint the models before I can play the game, so before I can use any of the new content I need to paint the models. And I gotta paint my diorama, and I gotta paint Dark Water, I gotta paint a commission. I got a commission I'm actually genuinely looking forward to, and I haven't been able to start it because I'm just trying to do these other things first. Very good. Well, as a judge, I can almost guarantee you that Kingdom Death models will be highly valued and appreciated at Crimson. So, you've made a good strategic choice with your model selection there. We actually talked about model selection quite a lot during the judging feedback sessions with people at Guilds Inn. Surprising how often that came up, just in terms of people were like, well, how can I get better? And we were highlighting the fact that in a painting competition, model selection is actually a big part, because you want to have a model that allows you to showcase your best attributes as an artist, and sometimes you want a piece that challenges you, but other times you want something that just lets you do the things that you're good at well. And some of the pieces that we knocked down when we were judging was because the models that they chose didn't really allow them to showcase their best attributes. It was an interesting experience. I liked it a lot. Speaking of Kingdom Death judging, Amalia and I are doing the Kingdom Death Discord painting competition. Judging it together with a little Norwegian superstar. Very much looking forward to it. She's quite nervous, but I am not. She's going to do great. will be fun. We will have a nice time, I think. She's also a big Kingdom Death fan. She said the other day that she watches my streams back. I also watch her streams back. So if you're listening to this, Amalia, I want you to send me a message that says you love Kingdom Death and tell me your favourite model. And if you don't reply to me, I'll know that you are lying, that you're a liar. Don't tell her. Don't anyone tell her. You'll ruin it. We had a lot of fun. She was funny as. I really enjoyed the time I got to spend with her. We just had a lot of laughs. We got sat in the front seat together. Well, I volunteered us to sit in the front seat together because she was the smallest and I was the biggest, and I didn't want to sit in the back. So we were sitting in the front seat together, and every day we would be up there just chatting away, and Johan would pick the songs that we'd listen to. And then Amalia and I took over the music, so she would pick her songs, and we had some good jokes up the front there. Very, very good. Yeah, her YouTube's going off, and she deserves everything that she's getting, and it's it makes me really happy to see her capitalising on the experience as well as she is. She's very, very clever, very deserving of the accolades and the stuff coming her way. So I couldn't be happier for her. I don't think Maxi's trying to do some stuff. So if you're not following Maxime, he's actually doing some really cool stuff on YouTube, and some really fun, fast edits of stuff. So you can follow him as well. She's a really nice girl. Yeah, she's really sweet. Just was definitely lacking confidence in herself at the start of the experience, but I do think that by the end of it, she felt a lot more like she belonged there, and that was really, really nice for us there, because I think most of us there felt very protective of her and wanted her to succeed and wanted her to believe in herself, and even the judges were really keen to help her succeed. Now I'm going to go on a rampage against one thing you just said there. So get ready for this. You probably never heard this rampage before, but this is a rampage that I'm quite partial to, right? I despise the word talent, right? You look up talent in the dictionary and it comes up as a God-given, a natural born ability, right? The harder I work, the more talented I get. That's the reality of my experience with miniature painting. I have known very few, if any, miniature painters who have just picked up a brush and been Da Vinci-like. Most of them work very, very hard to get where they are. And so I think talent, the term talent, I don't take offence to it when people call me talented. I used to. I don't. I understand their intention. Right? Their intention is good. But when I hear people use the word talent, I think they're convincing themselves that it's not something they can achieve. And that's the part that I take exception to. Because if you say to yourself, what that person is doing, I can't do, I promise you never will do it. But if you take that and go, that person, instead of saying they're really talented, they've worked really hard, then you are then opening yourself up to the opportunity that, well, if you work hard, you can also achieve that. So I think it's just a really important mindset shift that we have so much language that we use that we don't even think about that is potentially preventing us from achieving what we're capable of. And that one is a big one for me. Does she see colours in a unique way? Absolutely. Is she very, very skilled? Yep. But everything that she does can be learned, and everyone that I teach, when I occasionally do teach, I try to impress on them that fact that it's not useful to call it talent when you're talking about something where people have poured a lot of time and effort into. Even me, I'm far from as good a painter as I would like to be. But I know that everything that I've achieved is because of the amount of effort I put in over the last 10 years, 20 years, or more. Hey, Pelogi. Yeah, the mini is pretty cool. We might glue it to the throne. See how it's looking. But anyway, that's the end of my rant. So do with that what you will. If you decide that you would like to unfollow me, that's okay. Some people have unfollowed me when I've told them you can be better. And I got a couple of people unfollow me after my little rant where I was telling people to be kinder. And I thought to myself, that's a sad thing that people can choose to be upset by a message of being nice to other people. But it is what it is. That's the world we live in. That's a little bit of a rant. A little bit. But it's one I'll quite happily put forth because, in essence, what I am trying to do with my rant is get people to believe in themselves. And I think that's a good rant to have. Well, I have this friend who shall remain nameless, but I play board games with him every Tuesday. And I love him to bits. And his name's Darren, so he shan't remain nameless. Fuck you, Darren. And every week we'll come together and we'll be chatting about movies and TV shows, whatever. And I'll be like, "Oh, I watched this great movie on the weekend. It's fucking sick." And he just like, "What movie?" And I'll say, "He-Man. I watched He-Man. He-Man's great. Best movie I've seen this year." And I said that to him. I was like, it's the fucking best, man. It's like going back to watching He-Man when I was a kid, and they've fucking got a good reason for all these dumb names, and He-Man's the best, and I have the power. And he's like, I hate you. That is one of the worst films I've ever watched in my life. He just has this negative bent on everything that he watches. I don't know why. And he's the greatest guy. Like, I love Darren so much. He's one of my favourite people. But he just hates everything. I was like, why is your life so miserable, Darren? Why do you hate so many things? He's like, things can be better. It's like, yeah, but things are also pretty good as they are, you know? Fucking hell. But how could you hate He-Man? It's legit. And even the music's sick. It's like a electric death metal version of the He-Man theme song. So good. So good. Now, he may have been slightly coloured by the fact that his kids have been watching it, and like most kids, I'm sure they were watching it non-stop for about 4 days, so maybe that was the reason, but... Can I glue this chick down? Is that going to work? Is there going to be any part of this that will be precluded by me gluing this down? The face, maybe. Let's try it. This can always come back on pretty easily. What do we think? Yeah, no, I reckon we can glue that down. I reckon that'll work. Ordinary. You got me busy now. Might have a look at the whole package in a second. Very good. Magic the Gathering jokes. Alright, let's put this chick together and see how we're looking on the whole bad boy. Oh, you know what? I reckon we've done okay. I reckon we've done A-okay. I need to add more of the green tones into that rock bit. That's not bad, man. It's not bad. You can't really see because this is a gigantic model. But it's looking okay. Okay. Yes, solid size. It's a big boy. It's a big boy. Alright, now we're going to go through some coppery bits. What's the time? Yeah, I might pack up shop in a second, but... Coppery chains. Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountain, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees Stronger than the mountain, blowing like a breeze. Night, Match Fixer. See you, buddy. Country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, out mama, take me home to the country roads. Dark and dusty, painted on the sky. Misty taste of moonshine, teardrops in my eyes. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, out mama, take me home to the country roads. I always like the last stages of my approach to painting where I use the airbrush to just soften and smooth and add the right colours and nuance to things. I always feel like when I take that step, everything just starts to look much better. It all starts to come together. Alright, that'll do for tonight. Coolio, friends. Well, thanks for joining me. Impromptu stream, but working beautifully. I will be back maybe Wednesday, maybe Thursday, maybe Friday. Just trying to get this thing done. Cool. Let's go raid Zumakito and get him on there.
This is acrylic though, so it's actually the way I use it is put some on my palette and use a brush.
Boom! Have a fantastic evening. Go Zumi. Good luck.